So a few weeks ago on Macro Monday, we had basically flagged this dangerous and ongoing spat between the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI, and the Indian kind of government. Long and short of it, it was basically moves and pivots from the Indian government looking to influence the RBI in regards to potentially them having access to their reserves, them potentially being a little bit less restrictive on their governance and disciplinary kind of measures in the kind of the financial space. A lot of the Indian banks, especially the state-owned banks, have quite a bit of issues with loans as well as non-performing loans, which has been kind of a structural problem that's needed to kind of be solved. And also potentially given the fact that 2019 is going to be an election year for Modi, at least on the national scale, and he's potentially looking for a little bit more kind of stimulus from the economy, but maybe a less restrictive kind of monetary policy as a whole. Where this seems to just continue to kind of escalate, and also in many ways you could say the bar is getting raised higher for Modi, given that we're having quite a few local kind of elections, and the early kind of voting does seem to have his party on the back foot. So we've now gotten the resignation of the governor of India. Patel stepped down yesterday. Very simply worded statement on the Reserve Bank of India website, basically saying he's stepping down for personal reasons. But we cannot help but kind of think that potentially this has a lot more to it. Going back to kind of the cockroach theory they used to have covering kind of merger maybe there's a lot more here that is going to be playing out. We've also had rumors, all speculation now, that potentially his number two is also looking down to resign. And this is something that we have to watch and see how that's kind of plays out. While we don't have a Reserve Bank of India meeting scheduled until next year, I believe February 6th off the top of my head, we do have what was supposed to be a proposed meeting between the RBI and the government sitting down this kind of Friday, but I think it's something to really watch. We're up about 150 basis points on INR from just 2 sessions. Potentially we could be going back up from these kind of 71.80 levels to retest the 74.50-ish kind of highs and potentially break out to kind of new highs. And I think the downside is probably capped at kind of 69 until we get more clarity on whether this is just some noise and we will kind of go back to usual, or whether we're actually getting towards the cusp of a structural kind of divergence in regards to the independence of the RBI moving forward. So very key, obviously, for the India market and potential global macro structural implications for long-term investors, both onshore and offshore. So definitely something to keep watching out.